Peace to everybody. As you know, this is Halloween week still, and of course, I'm bringing you different stories about Halloween, and this one's about the fascinating history of Halloween, and this is from October of last year, and as you can see here in the screenshot, there are the pumpkins. It's one of America's most beloved holidays, but Halloween didn't get its start in the United States. Travel back in time with us, and we mean way back, to learn what some of the very first ghostly celebrations looked like. We can guarantee they didn't include candy or superhero costumes. When you're done, load up on even more Halloween trivia. Well, we don't care about that. So it is one of the most beloved holidays. Alright. So Halloween didn't get its start in the United States. So we gotta travel all the way back to where it started from. And of course, the very first ghostly celebration looked like, we can guarantee that it didn't include candy or superhero costumes, so they didn't include them back then. Celtic origins, and of course, as you can see here, is what it looks like. Most scholars agree Halloween as we know it started some 2,000 years ago when Celtic people in Europe celebrated the end of the harvest and the start of a new year in a festival called Samhain. It was also a time of communing with other worldly spirits with bonfires lit in honor of the dead, according to the American Folklife Center. So 2,000 years ago, that's when Halloween started, and it started all the way out in most scholars are out ago when Celtic people in Europe celebrated the end of the harvest. So the end of the harvest, that's when it started. Um, and start a new year in a festival called Saint Samhain. It was also a time of communing with otherworldly spirits and big bonfires lit in honor of the dead. So that's what it happened. Roman intervention, and as you can see here in this screenshot is the moon, and of course the trees, as you can see here. When the Romans had conquered most Celtic territory by 43 AD, they brought their own fall festivals with them. According to history, their October celebration called Feveralia also commemorated the passing of the dead. So the Romans, they conquered most Celtic territory by 43 AD. So they did bring their own fall festivals with them, according to history. Their October celebration called Feveralia also commemorated the passing of the dead. So they also celebrate the dead as well. Christian influence, and as you can see here are all the candles that are lit. Fast forward a few centuries and even more changes arrive. Several Christian popes attempted to replace pagan holidays like Samhain with events of their own design. By 1000 AD, All Souls' Day on November 2nd served as a time for the living to pray for the souls of the dead. All Saints' Day, assigned to November 1st, obviously honored saints, but it was also called All Hallows. That made October 31st All Hallows Eve and later Halloween. So if you fast forward a few centuries and even more changes arrive, of course several Christian popes attempted to replace pagan holidays. So, and like Samhain with events of their own design. But of course, by 1000 AD, All Souls Day on November 2nd served as a time for the living to pray for the souls of the dead. And November 1st is All Saints Day. So as of today, down in Mexico is when they start celebrating their Halloween, and it goes through November 2nd. So they only got 3 days. They have today, tomorrow, and the 2nd. That's it. English traditions, and as you can see here is the smoke. Despite the new religious focus, people in Old England and Ireland continued to associate the time with the wandering dead. They set out gifts of food to please the spirits, and as time wore on, people would dress as scary costumes in exchange for treats themselves, a practice called mummering, which is similar to today's trick-or-treating. So it is true, despite the new religious focus, people in Old England and Ireland continue to associate with the time of the wandering dead. And of course, they set out gifts of food to please the spirits. And as time wore on, people would dress in scary costumes in exchange for treats themselves. Colonial festivities, and as you can see here are the pumpkins. The first similar celebrations in America predominantly arose in the southern colonies. According to history, people would celebrate the harvest, swap ghost stories, and even tell each other's fortunes. However, those early fall festivals were known as play parties, not Halloween. So you got the first similar celebrations in America predominantly across the southern colonies. And this is according to history. People would celebrate the harvest, swap ghost stories, and even tell each other's fortunes. They also had fall festivities. Festivals were known as play parties, not Halloween. Finding love. Well, as you can see here, the woman is looking in the mirror to see who she's supposed to be in love with. In the 1700s and 1800s, women used to perform rituals on Halloween in hopes of finding a husband. According to history, women would throw apple peels over their shoulder, hoping to see their future husband's initials, and continuously bought for apples at parties because the winner would be the first to marry. The weirdest of them all, they thought standing in a dark room with a candle in front of a mirror would make their future husband's face appear. Now, I find this one a little odd. Alright, and this happened in the 1700s and 1800s. Women used to perform rituals on Halloween in hopes of finding a husband, and the women would throw apple peels over their shoulder, hoping to see their future husband's initials, and competitively bought for apples. Because the winner would be the first to marry. The weirdest of them all? Yeah, I find it a little weird. They thought standing in a dark room with a candle in front of a mirror would make their future husband's face appear. Now, I don't know how many people would do this, but not me. But if you are thinking about it, please choose wisely. Irish immigration, and of course, as you can see, somebody walking or running from whatever. The holiday really started taking off in the middle of the 19th century when a wave of Irish immigrants left their country during the potato famine. They popularized the celebration nationally with their new suspicions and customs, like the jack-o'-lantern, Did you know that the jack-o'-lanterns used to be carved out of turnips, potatoes, and beets? While kids didn't trick or treat just yet, they did play plenty of pranks in the tradition of mischief making. So without anybody knowing, we never knew that the jack-o'-lanterns were carved out of turnips, potatoes, and beets. We never knew about that. The holiday really started taking off in the middle of the 19th century when a wave of Irish immigrants left their country during the potato famine. They popularized the celebration nationally with their new superstitions and costumes. And I really don't believe in superstitions, really, because, it's all weird and kind of teeny weeny fake, I would say. But if some people want to believe in it, that's them. Me, I don't believe in superstitions whatsoever. American-sizing Halloween, and as you can see here in another screenshot is a black cat with yellow eyes. And of course, these are the most popular cats to adopt are the black cats because they're more easier to adopt out than any other cats. By the end of the 1800s, more communities pushed for a secular and safer set of rituals. People started holding Halloween parties that emphasized games, fall food, and costumes over witchcraft and troublemaking. So by the end of the 1800s, more communities did push for a secular set of rituals. And of course, people were holding Halloween parties that emphasized games, fall food, and costumes. And of course, this was better than witchcraft and troublemaking. But there are some people that choose witchcraft and troublemaking. And it's kind of sad that people are doing these things instead of having fun in that. Ah, yes, what we know today. And of course, my favorite candy corn. Yay! And this is one of the most popular candies ever for Halloween. Trick-or-treating skyrocketed in popularity by the 1950s when Halloween became a true national event. Today, over 179 million Americans celebrate the holiday and spend about $9.1 billion on it per year, according to the National Retail Federation. So trick-or-treating did skyrocket in popularity by the 1950s, and it was pretty popular back then. Today, over 179 million Americans celebrate the holiday, and they spend about $9.1 billion on it per year. And this is according to the National Retail Federation. And people really go all out spending on Halloween stuff and everything else. And of course, about this other stuff, and so please be careful today. If you are thinking about taking your kids out trick-or-treating today, just please make sure they stay with you at all times. Do not let them out of your sight, because it's really dangerous today. And that. Leave your comments below. I am out.